The concept of the reauthoring map is something that I find profoundly moving. That I can reauthor my life and take it into a space where I feel better, things that I like around me, the preferred story space. So, this is the path that I chose to share with my daughter Jayanti. She's 19 years old. She is autistic. Autism is my workspace, it is my life space. So, this is very important to me. So, few things I kept in mind. There is a lot of power play when we work with a person with autism, and we get to decide many things. We get to decide what to talk. We get to decide whether we should talk about a problem, not talk about a problem. That made me aware of how acutely responsible that one has to be. The second thing is to avoid the whole thing of identification, which is a lot of what we use when we work with people with autism. It's not about proving anything to me, but rather it became my responsibility to give her enough support and more to be able to engage without having to prove herself to me. That was the second thing. The third thing was to make her feel safe, make her feel comfortable without any sense of hurry, which she would be able to pick up by my behavior. So we worked at home. One of the earliest lessons I learned at Umeed was to have a picture perfect learning space ready for your student before she walks in. The activity, the goals, the reward, everything would be ready so that you don't make that person wait. But here again I had to untrain myself because she is not a student, I am not her teacher, and we are in a space together where we are going to engage in something together. We went through the pictures together, we sorted them out together, we put up the chart papers together, and the pictures were categorized into 4 different areas. So the first area was, who is Jayanti? Who am I? And all the things that relate to her. Her parents, her siblings, her family, what she does at work, what she does at home, what she likes, what she enjoys, and a lot of some other things as well. So this sheet I did not ask her to put up for me because this would come dangerously close to identification. So I would have to do things like, can you pick up the picture of your mother? Can you pick up a picture of the computer that you do data entry in and stuff like that? So I put it up for her. She was very much there in that room. I was talking about it and I put up the pictures and arranged it for her so that we could start communicating naturally without getting into identification. Next we went into the chart, which is what is the problem. And that's where I had actually put up pictures of the problem in very, very clear visuals so that there was no doubt about what we were talking about. So this puts a lot of responsibility on us when we work with a more vulnerable person. We are calling the shots, there is no two ways about it. So how to make it more shared is something that one has to really work upon. So I said, Jayanti, there are so many things that you do. There are so many things that we all do together, Jayanti. But there is a problem, isn't it? So both she and I, we pointed to the picture, we talked about it, we stayed there in that space for a good few minutes. And then we talked about what the problem does, who are the people it affects. And this is where again a lot of the control was in my hands, the narrative was in my hands because of the sheer challenges of cognition and communication, both that a person with autism experiences. So I had to keep saying things, waiting to see what her response is, to see how natural it was, and at the same time not ask her things like, can you show me, can you point? I had to avoid that also. When we moved into the next category of what effect does this problem have on all of us? And that's when, I took Jayanti's hands into mine and I looked at her and I said, Jayanti, this really makes us sad. And at that time, there was a perceptible shift in the room. Sorrow had entered the room. Sadness had entered in the room and occupied one more chair and one more space. The way she looked at me, the way she just gazed into my eyes, and there was a perceptible heaviness in our hands, in our gaze, in the atmosphere in the room. And from there, we had to move on. The next sheet was going to talk about what I want. The first sheet was who am I? And all the things that Jayanti stands for, does, feels, experiences. Second is what is the problem in my life? The third is what do I want to be happy? That was the third sheet. And where were we now? We were on the fact that we are very, very sad because of this problem. Now from this moment of sadness, we had to move to what I want to be happy. So that's when I realized that to move from sadness to happiness, it's not like one jump. It's a journey. I said, Jayanti, no more sad. No more crying. We don't want to be sad, Jayanti. Sadness finished. We want to go on. So we will be strong and we will start becoming happy. So that took some work. And then both of us together picked up the happy picture and then we put it up and then we started talking about what do you want to be happy. Then we moved towards the last, which is the landscape of action. And there was a fourth library of pictures that had pictures of Jayanti engaged in various tasks. Somewhere along the middle of this whole conversation, I took a back seat and I sat down and it was Jayanti who was standing. So that also gave her, that larger than life persona. We need pictures, we need objects, we also need enough time for a person to actually engage in that task at that moment. So she went and got a box of blocks because she had picked up a picture of blocks. So when she brought the blocks, she dropped the blocks and they scattered all over the floor. I also just waited. Neither did I say I would help, nor did I say I won't help. I just waited. And that whole thing she went on to actually pick up every piece. It was almost as if she was building her basket of happiness. There was a very, very positive energy that was created at that time. So that also taught me that spontaneous moments should also be allowed to happen because you never know what will come out of it. Particularly when you're working with people with autism, people with cognitive issues, you never know what is that sparkling moment when the matches will just get lit and something luminous will emerge. That was a moment which I didn't want to lose that moment. I wanted to share that moment with her. So I said, Jayanti, talk to me, Jayanti. Why are you doing this? You're doing this to be happy. You're doing this action, you're choosing this action to feel happy. So that was the moment where we dwelt. We went back a little to the problem. Again, we have this problem. This problem makes us sad. We don't want to be sad. Sadness is finished. We want to be happy. So we do things to make us happy.